What's up, guys? I'm Max from WeVideo. Welcome back to another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. Got an exciting one for you today. Today we'll be going over color correction as well as some exciting new announcements coming up. With that, let me introduce my co-host, Tyler Wall.
Hey Max, good to see you.
Good to see you, Tyler.
Let's get into some editing. I'm excited today to go over color correction or color grading.
Exactly, yeah. Whatever you call it, WeVideo's got some solid features when it comes to color correction to really tweak and improve your footage. So we're going to go over kind of the purposes and why you would do it, as well as a couple different examples and when one feature might be more appropriate than another. So with that, let's get started.
Awesome. Yeah, let's hop into WeVideo. You can see I've already got this project opened up with a couple different clips of Max here. These are different videos we've done in the past year. So we're just going to go over the basics of color grading or color correction, when you would use it, kind of the different features within there, and what they all mean.
Awesome.
So let's go ahead and start with this green screen clip. Hopefully we got enough time for people to join our live feed here. All right, so as usual, you're going to double click into your clip editor, and then you're going to click onto the color tab right here. So you can see this one actually already has some things done. I'm going to go ahead and reset that. All right, so yeah, let's go over all the different sliders here, kind of what they do, what they mean, and when you would use them in a color grading or color correction situation.
Perfect. Exactly what I was going to say.
Cool. So yeah, let's start with the brightness tab here. This is the overall brightness of your clip. You can see as I adjust this, the clip is changing brightness. So this is typically the first one we're going to adjust when we're color grading. And it really, one thing I should mention about color grading is that a lot of it is very stylized to your preferences, depending on what you're trying to do with your video. For this one, I think we can add a little bit of brightness. Just get Max to show up. Next, we're going to go with contrast. So the contrast, as you can see, is just going to change the difference between the darkest and lightest parts of your clip. So if we add a little bit of contrast, Max will stand out a little bit more on that backdrop. And I think that looks pretty good right there around 7. So with a lot of these sliders, you're going to want to do very little adjustments unless you have a clip that you shot that has some major issues, like you underexposed and it's really, really dark. You might need to crank up the brightness a lot. But for the most part, especially if you're shooting on auto settings on your camera, or you shot this correctly, you're not going to need to do many adjustments with these. So the contrast, we're just going to bump it up to about 8. Next, we have this slider for saturation. This is basically just introducing the colors. So if you notice, I bring it all the way down to -100. You can actually create that black and white effect.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so saturation is like the overall intensity of color, correct?
Yeah, exactly. So if we bring it all the way up, you can see Max becomes super saturated. One of the cool ways to kind of see where you want the saturation is to actually crank it all the way up and then slowly bring it down until it looks about right. So right about there. We got a good amount of color brought back
Make
into this.
colors pop. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next is hue.
Real quick, Tyler, before we go on to the next one, we're already seeing some comments come in, which is great. Just want to point out that we will address all the questions towards the end of our short little demo here, as well as give you a quick preview of our new features coming soon. Lastly, if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell in the top right corner so you can get notifications when we release new videos, which is quite frequently lately.
Definitely. We want to get you guys as many Tuesday tips as we can, and we also post a lot of other great content there. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that bell. We appreciate it. All right, so were there any questions we wanted to address, or should I continue going down?
We'll get to this one. We have a question about animation, which we can get to at the end.
Cool. Yeah, can definitely go over animation. That'd be fun. All right, so next up is hue. This clip is actually a good one to demonstrate what hue does for us. Since it's got this bright green background, we can actually see what it's doing. So if I adjust the hue, notice how it changes to yellow, orange, red, purple. So our hue is basically just the color wheel, right? So we have green hue. If you go to the right, you can see it turns into the turquoise. And we're just adjusting along the color wheel. So we're introducing different colors. If you want a more purple hue, you would go all the way to the end. So if you really wanted to stylize something, make it a different hue, this is where you would adjust that. For our purposes, we're just going to keep it probably right where it was, I think. We don't need to adjust on this clip. Next up is the temperature. This is probably one of the main ones that we're going to adjust almost on every clip, depending on, how you shot this. So color temperature, if you are familiar with shooting, you'll notice this is a setting within every camera that you have. It's basically adjusting the coolness. So if you see, if I go all the way to the left, it's going to be
nice blue or icier tone.
Right. And this is the kelvins. So color temperature. Around 5,600 Kelvin, that's like direct sunlight. So warmer hue. Again, it comes down to some preferences. So if you want it cooler or warmer, I prefer a little bit warmer clips typically. So we'll go around 10. Yeah, so if you shot something and let's say you're doing 2 different camera shoot, sometimes we run into the problem where one camera will be shooting at a higher Kelvin than the other, and we need to adjust the temperature to make both those cameras look the same. So this is where you're going to do that. And yeah, sometimes you'll just kind of have to eyeball depending on your clip.
Right.
Up is tint. This has to do kind of with our hue as well. So let's say I had an orange hue. Tint is basically just adding in lightness. So you can see if I go to the left, it's adding a lot of white to that orange hue. And this is less white. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, if you really want to do some crazy stylized music video or something, we want Max to look like he's in a pink background there and kind of a blue skin tone. You can play with these hue and tint sliders.
Well, awesome.
Yeah, so these are just the basic color correction sliders within WeVideo. Super helpful in adjusting your clips. I recommend you doing this at the beginning of your edit. Really get everything dialed in how you want to look color-wise, and then go in and start making your edits.
And then, Tyler, before we move on to this next clip, if you want to reset everything back to the default to the way it is to start over, how would you go about doing that?
That's a great question. All right, so you can see here we have a couple reset buttons on the right-hand side. So if you wanted to just reset one of the sliders, you can click that. If you want to reset the entire clip to original settings, just hit this trash can up in the upper right corner, and that's going to reset the whole thing.
Awesome. Wow, you can really see the changes we made when you did that.
Yeah.
A lot brighter, yeah.
And then let's say I accidentally click this or one of these. If I just click cancel, it won't save those changes. So that's a good thing to know too.
Awesome.
Yeah, you
cool.
can kind of see that before and after when we hit that trash can, and how much of a difference that makes when adjusting our colors. Really pops a lot more.
Sweet. Let's quickly go over kind of just some quick changes to make this next clip brighter and more.
Yeah, sure. Let's go over another example.
And then let's get to animation.
So you can see this clip here. Super bright background.
A little washed out.
A little bit washed out. So let's go ahead and start correcting this. Our brightness, I think we want to bring it down some. So like I said, if you crank it all the way, you can kind of use that method and slowly get to where you think it looks good. I think that's pretty good. So we're saving some of the background here while maintaining Max's face so we can still see his beautiful smile. All right, so bump the contrast a little bit. This clip is really lacking in color, so let's boost the contrast and bring a lot of those back in. I think right around here looks pretty good. I'm not going to touch the hue for now. We can play with that in a sec, but let's get our color temperature right.
A little warmer. There we go.
Since it is outside and it was a nice sunny day, yeah, I think we want to introduce these warm color temperatures. So that looks pretty good. Yeah, so let's play with the hue now and see if there's some stylized looks we can come up with.
That's actually kind of cool. Makes it look a little autumny.
Yeah. One of the popular looks is introducing orange and teal, and that kind of brings out this cinematic.
It's true. Yeah, you'll particularly see that a lot in some of the professional travel videos.
Yeah.
We just did a blog on, in case you guys want to watch that, or sorry, check those out. Bunch of quick pointers for both an experienced as well as a completely new user.
Yeah, so if you were trying to make a, I don't know, sort of cinematic movie, maybe you would want to adjust those hues and tints. And again, let's see the before, after, and see the big difference that we made. Oops, looks like I saved that. But you get the idea.
Awesome. So yeah, let's go from here to animation. The particular question we had was how to create faster animations. So I don't know, maybe we work with like a logo or icon.
Yeah, let's search something in our Essentials library, stock media library. Just type logo and see what comes up. For those of you that do have the stock media library, if you go ahead and click on this tab right here, you can see you are able to adjust in both these places. So let's find an image. This one looks like a good example. Let's see, maybe we can find something a little cooler. Maybe there's a PNG. No luck. All right, that's all right. This one will work. So if I wanted to do an animation, what we're going to do is get into our clip editor like we normally would. You can double click or hit this pencil icon, and then we're going to go to the animation tab here.
So third from the right.
Yep.
Or from the left, excuse me. Third from the left.
All right, so animation's pretty easy. What you're going to do is set a start and an end point. For the start point, let's say we wanted to have kind of a watermark that's scaled into frame. So we'll start with it really small. You can even fade it in and then end with it. You can see when I click that end, it reset to where it originally was. So
right.
You can adjust to where you want it to end. So this is a really powerful tool. You can do a lot of different things with the animation tab.
We did do a whole how to create an animated intro, Tuesday tips and tricks.
Yeah.
Which I encourage you guys to check out because that one's actually really good. Got a lot of great feedback there.
Yeah, definitely watch that video if you want to learn a little bit more about animation. We can actually preview what this is going to look like. So you can see it's scaling in. And it looks a little bit slow. I think that was what one of the people viewing was asking about. So how to change how fast this comes onto screen. And that is super easy to do. So we're going to save the changes for now. Way that you're going to adjust the speed is simply take this clip and adjust its length. So if we make it really short, that's going to pop on where, oops, and you can see the animation disappears. So a way to remedy this is just take this clip, hold shift, drag it over, and we'll create a duplicate of that clip.
I like this strategy here, and then get rid of the animation.
And then get rid of your animation, right? And what that is essentially doing, so if you go to your transform tab, you can see it says you currently have an active animation. So we're going to remove that animation, save the changes, and you're probably saying to yourself, well, that didn't work because it reset to the center. So what you have to do is go in back into this one, copy your scale, or just remember your scale and position that you end on, right?
So I got you on the position. We have 27 by 30.
Okay, and I'll copy this scale. So I might have done this a little bit backwards. You want to do that from the beginning. Paste that in. -27.
No, just 27. You're also still in the animation tab at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, be sure that you don't create a new animation. So we'll remove that again. Get our scale right.
And then, yeah, 27 by 30.
33?
Just 30.
30. I'm going to have Max here to remember this. All right. So now we have that end point. Let's lose our fade too, because that's creating lose the fade out. All right. And then we can make adjustments to how fast or slow we want that to be, and then still have our static logo.
Yeah, I just saw kind of highlight for our viewers, Tyler, you expanded your timeline so you could have that specific project you're working on a little bigger, which you can do by either control plusing, control minusing, or just adjusting that bottom slider in the right corner so that you can make more precise edits to something when it's short.
Yeah, exactly. This is a tool that I use all the time. When you want to dial in on a specific area, got to use that zoom tool. I think it is Shift minus and Shift plus. You can do that as a shortcut as well. All right, so now we've got our animation, and then we could obviously make this quicker if we wanted it to be much faster. Sort of pop in there.
And then, Tyler, while we're kind of on these cool little shortcuts, what you did earlier by duplicating the clip, do you want to go over how you did that again?
Definitely.
So yeah, I mean, for starters, you can just take any existing clip and use your standard copy and paste. So Control C and then Control V is the actual shortcut for that. You just got to make sure that you've got your cursor moved so you've got space to paste your new clip, or as Tyler did earlier.
Yeah, so Control C, Control V, that's a useful one. Or you can just click on the clip, hold the Shift button, drag it over, and then I can place the duplicate anywhere on my timeline that there's space, obviously.
Yeah.
And now we have 2 clips. So that's something that's very useful and that often we need to do, especially with graphics like this and animations. So you could get really complicated with this animation and make it do a lot of different things before it lands on our static. But for intents and purposes of our live, I think we'll just keep it simple.
Yeah, definitely recommend checking out the tips and tricks video we did on creating an animated intro, because that was quite the expansive set of animations that we did there. That just kind of shows what you can do with WeVideo. Granted, it'll take some intricate work, but the result is awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Awesome. So as far as kind of new things coming soon. First up, we have our WeVideo Creator Community Summit, July 28th to 30th, completely free and completely virtual. You can register for that. We'll paste the links in the comments section as well as of YouTube as well as Facebook. You can also find that on our site. Secondly, we are stoked to announce real-time collaboration is coming soon. This has been something that internally at WeVideo we've been super excited about. It's been a long time coming, and it's nearly here. You can find out more about that on our blog. Excited, please comment any questions you have. This is going to be a just amazing feature.
Yeah, we've got the sneak peeks already, so we're excited to see this implemented, but it's going to be a huge feature that lets you collaborate with team members and do edits in real time. It's pretty awesome.
Awesome. With that, I think we're set on all the comments. Thank you again for everybody joining. As always, please subscribe if you're on YouTube by hitting bottom right corner, as well as hit the bell on the top so you get notifications. And with that, I think that's a wrap.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, see you everybody next week.
See you.